idea of science and the way it's supposed to work, I completely understand and agree with.
Right.
You know, but now it's not anymore. Science is so far from science has become more like religion.
Yeah. My only thing with science is I just wish they would be like, hey, we are wrong sometimes.
Right, exactly.
Just admit that you're wrong sometimes, and I'd be like, it's fun. But they're always like, it's right. I'm like, yeah, in 20 years, it's gonna be wrong. Do you think they're sprinkling in some questionable white guys to just like a really short Sicilian guy that might be able to pass as like, oh, he's ambiguous.
And how far does it go before it becomes racist? Oh, hello, and welcome to yet another episode of Who the F is Rob White? I am Rob White, and my guest today on the show, Mr. Christian Hahn. Say hello.
Hello. I don't know which camera to look into. That guy right there.
Right there. And we're doing a fine little tattoo here of a Flintlock pistol with a little, like, designy kind of sort of thing going on in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we don't really get into the whole... I've tattooed you a couple of times, so this isn't something that's brand new to you. I mean, it's still gonna suck just as much as every other one did, but
I think this one's probably gonna hurt the most out of the other two.
Yeah,
right?
This area is kind of shot. Inside of the arm, I have both. Inside of both my arms, and I didn't enjoy it, but. Well,
I'll make it through.
You know what? It's sort of like, here's the only way you can explain it, or the best way to explain it. It's sort of like this. It feels like...
Right. I have to be really tough because I'm on camera.
I know.
I have to be really tough guy. I have to be tough guy energy right now.
It's so weird. Last week, I got tattooed on the show, so that was a weird one, and I had to do the same thing. I was like, I can't be a bitch about it because I'm literally doing this to other people.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to be all like upset and crying about it.
No, it's nice. I'm happy. I like getting the Flintlock. I think moving it to Flintlock was the right move.
It's smaller. Yeah, because originally you wanted a rifle, and that was just going to be so big that you wouldn't get all the detail in it. So I was like, what if it was just a little Hawkins pistol?
That's always... The civil reenactors.
You'd want to do that, don't you?
I would like to do it but my only thing is like.
That's a good one.
My only thing is after you get pretend shot, right? How long do you have to lay on the ground?
For the rest of the battle, till they say like.
So you could just be there for hours.
I mean, I don't know. How long do these battles go for?
I don't know.
The
battles realistically lasted hours.
I feel like there's got to be some sort of like ollie oxen free kind of.
At what point can you just like roll off the field? Like I want lunch.
I just don't know. Like for me, I guess the part that always weirds me out the most is when people are reenacting wars that aren't like people are still there for.
like what do you mean? Are people reenacting like Vietnam?
Yes.
Do they really?
Yes, and that's to me like okay, you're reenacting World War II, I feel like we're almost okay with that now because anybody that's old enough to have been at World War II is probably like entering those stages of twilight dementia where they're just like, they're not going to be bothered by it as much. Maybe, I don't know. But like I feel like you start reenacting Vietnam, like I got people that would just be like, what? Like I still taste the blood. Like what?
Do you think the reenactors, do you think they say racist shit? Do you think they're dropping like
I don't think you can drop that. Son of a bitch.
Wait, there's no way YouTube is on point with. Do you think? That's such an old-timey.
Somebody said it the other day, so I think it's fine.
Did somebody say it? Zipper.
Who said it the other day?
Who whips out Zipperhead?
What year was this?
So, I can't remember, but I know somebody did.
What were you just online in Dunkin' Donuts, and there was some guy like, God damn. And a good day to you, madam.
Because that's like one of those that's like one of those racist terms where it's like, where you could drop it, but nobody even knows what you're talking about.
My grandfather was pretty pretty racist.
Yeah.
But he was what I would consider to be a very
But does somebody
politically
not
correct racist.
does somebody not have a racist grandpa?
No, I feel like
Who doesn't have who has a like a liberal grandpa?
No, I'll tell you what, my grandmother was
I'd be
pretty liberal
suspect.
though. My grandmother was like a really liberal woman but for her era.
But like
being a liberal woman
liberal for her
meant
era
not-
is just like a woman going to college.
She had a boss that was a black gentleman, and you know and that was considered like crazy
Right.
for that era, that a woman was working
Right.
for a black man, and she had never thought anything weird about it. So that
Right.
she was considered like a very liberal woman of her era, you know.
That's nice that like the bar was like set that low. for
Yeah,
being,
it was
like,
really
liberal.
It was really kind of basic at that point. It was like, Joan hasn't burned any crosses this week. What's wrong with that lady?
You just go around to parties. You're like, yeah, my boss is black, and people are like, oh my god, it's so
"You work
progressive.
for
You work for a black guy?
Yeah, but she would still, you know, she would just, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Weird, different era, different time. Oh, wait, we were talking about Vietnam. No, what were we talking
We're
about?
talking about Vietnam
And
reenactors.
war. Yeah, Vietnam reenactors. It's gotta be weird because I can't see a lot of Vietnamese people being like, okay, Chuck, you got me. I'll go out. What are you doing this weekend? You know, hey Dave, what are you doing? Like nothing. Like I noticed that you were Vietnamese.
Well,
Do you mind wearing this weird hat?
if they're doing the Vietnam War reenactment in the States, right? What's the likelihood they're getting enough Vietnamese actors?
Right, of course.
Do you think they're sprinkling in some questionable white guys to just like a really short Sicilian guy that might be able to pass as like, oh, he's ambiguous.
And how far does it go before it becomes racist? You know what I mean? Like he's dressing like you're dressing like an old Viet Cong, so you're wearing the rice picker hat and all.
How many straw hats are they wearing?
Like at what point is it like, okay, Johnny, you could wear the hat, you could wear the pajamas, but bro, can you stop taping your eyes like that with the Scotch tape? What are you doing? Like, just trying to get in character, Jimmy.
It'd be great if they're doing like if they had the U.S. soldiers doing like fake heroin.
God. Oh no. Oh, it's even better. Instead of like actually having like battles, you're just sitting there listening to the fucking Doors on 8-track. Everyone's shooting fake
And you guys like, I don't want to be here.
Come on, man. Come on, man. You know,
oh man, I don't want to be here.
Just writing letters to your girl. You can call her on the cell phone instead. You're writing letters. Man, Pam's back home. I hope she's not banging some guy.
It'd be nice, but I think being a war reenact, that's a good hustle.
It's a weird job. It's a weird, like...
Do you think they're because I have a hard time believing that they're thespians.
Well, is it that they just really love war? Like, what's the
But like,
angle?
what do you think the crop of people that do it are?
White.
Yeah,
Like 100%.
100%.
No, I tried writing a bit on this one too, but like I'm pretty sure 100% of the people that reenact
It'd be funny.
almost any period of history. I don't give a shit if you're reenacting the colonial era, Civil War, Vietnam. I'm hard pressed to find a Puerto Rican guy who's like, yeah, I'd love to be.
There's a 0% chance. There's no other. There's actually might not be another race that would be into doing it.
Maybe like a crazy, like wealthy Saudi. You know what I mean? Like one Saudi guy, look at me. I am
an
the
oil-rich Saudi.
Robert E. Lee. I don't even know if it's a real impression. I just see him with, like when he's wearing his Saudi outfit still.
You might
I'm
get
Robert E. Lee. He's Greek too, apparently. I don't know.
You might. I'm trying to even think because I'm like, there's no Hispanic people.
No.
There's gonna be no Hispanic people. You'll get maybe a small percentage of nerdy black dudes, maybe, but I'm not really convinced.
But even like, okay, so if you're any ethnicity other than white male, right? What year, let's just say like in America, could you go back to? Like, what year would you be like, okay, that's a dangerous, right? Because like, okay, I would think you could probably go back to like 1985,
Yeah.
It'd be pretty cool. You don't have to,
Yeah.
you know. But if you get off the fucking time machine and it's 1945,
No.
you need like a dictionary of like places or a book of where you can and can't go. Like,
Right. There's no. Right. Because there's. I don't think there's none. I don't think so. You're right.
Racism was so fucking weird that you got to think about like some of the reasons that people were murdered are so insane. Be like, well, what happened to what happened to Levon? Like, oh, he came into the wrong bar in town and ordered a stack of flapjacks. Like, you ordered flapjacks? You don't order flapjacks if you're a black man. Like, what? It was always weird. Like he looked at Loretta like.
Yeah.
What? It was always some crazy shit. So you could never send anybody back in time and have them be totally safe and like. So I don't know, what year?
I don't know because I'm trying to think like who would be like, and I can't because I'm like 19 like we're Indian people here in 1945.
Indians from India?
From India.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you about.
I mean, they're in the British Empire. I guess not.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, here's a fucking weird thing about racism. When it came to certain cultures, they were like totally awesome. Like people loved India.
Yeah.
They loved Egypt. If you look back into like the 1940s and 50s and stuff like Egyptian, pyramid culture and all that kind of stuff, and the Far East, the mystical Far East, all that stuff was pretty cool. So like I've actually read articles where there'd be a black guy who was, I forget what his name was, he was a magician, and he changed his name to be like a mystical Indian.
Yeah.
But you're like, wait a minute. So that guy's, but he's, like think about Lucy and Ricky, right? Ricky Ricardo was Cuban, right? So that's Latin, like, But like Mexicans were like, no.
Right.
But Cuban guy was okay on.
Cubans are considered the whitest of the Hispanics, though.
But who the fuck
I know we're
was...
entering in treacherous territory right now.
No, but it's such a weird. It's the
but it's
weird.
true. Ask any Spanish people; they're like Cubans are the whitest of the Spanish people, of the Hispanic people.
Right. Well, yeah. Even like people in Spain. I know like Spain had a whole entire like fascist movement, and they were aligned with like the the Nazis and stuff. And you're like, but they're not the quote unquote Aryans or what have you. So it's such a fucking bizarre thing to think like what. Yeah, where would I guess certain people be okay, and when would they be okay?
Right. Well, it's weird. Well, you ever hear about the Indian SS units?
Yeah, I've seen pictures of like
they're Indian. They were literal Indian Nazis.
Turbans on.
Yeah, but they just kind of let it rock. They're like, whatever. It was at the end of the war. They were looking for men. But
I think they had no idea what was going on either.
They were just pissed.
They were like, "What? We're going after the who?"
Have you gotten into this is a strange alternate history. Have you ever gotten into, because we talked about Egypt,
alt history,
and in the early 20th century in like England and France, they used to have the mummy parties. You ever hear about that?
No.
So people would buy. So it was a big market because that's like in like the early 20th century, like they really started doing a lot of archaeology like in Egypt.
That's probably why it became like cool too. They, like, well, okay, we'll be cool with these brown people, but those brown people are too brown. Like,
but they were finding all these mummified bodies, and they were like relatively well preserved, and people like wealthy like aristocrats in like England and France would buy them, and they would have mummy parties, and they would like take out like the body, and
like
and they would do
Bernie's?
they would do like seances and stuff.
No shit, that's just creepy.
Yeah, it's mad creepy, but it was like a really big thing. Like really wealthy people would be like, "I'm having a mummy party."
Yeah, there was a lot of weird occult, like for an era that was. See, that's interesting too, because you think about like that era as being a religious era, right?
Yeah.
Because when Prohibition came about, a lot of it was due to evangelical Christians.
Yeah.
Pushing. To have it banned because
My
of
tribe.
temperance and stuff.
Yeah.
You're literally named after that.
I know. That's my tribe right there.
Those are your folks. So
That's my folk.
You have people literally talking about Christianity like that's a main thing.
Yeah.
And then seances and the occult, which is the exact
right.
Because I've talked to like people who are like born again Christians, and they'll be like, "You can't watch Harry Potter because."
Oh, I grew up. Wasn't allowed to read or watch any Harry Potter.
You want to read anything?
No, I was allowed to read.
No, I wasn't allowed to read.
They're like, no, he has to be illiterate. No, I couldn't read Harry Potter.
So, I mean, yeah, but so exactly. So you think about that, you go, that's considered the devil, satanic, right? Whatever you would consider it at that point. So you had people that were
witchcraft.
like going to church on Sundays, but then on a Saturday night, they'd be like, come over the house and we're gonna all stare into the freaking crystal ball. Like, what? How did that coexist?
That is weird. I don't know how it coexisted, but that shit used to scare me as a kid. I'm still to this day, like, dude, like I won't even go near a Ouija board.
Yeah,
I do not mess around with Ouija boards. I do not do seance. That shit freaks me out. Like I won't even touch it with like a 10-foot pole.
No, but I understand that because it's like, I mean, nobody needs that in their life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I got enough shit going on. Like, oh, I don't need a demon.
You know, it's like really weird, especially growing up like born again Christian, evangelical Christian, is like there's like, and I wanted to write like a bit about it. I just couldn't figure out how to phrase it. But you have like weird beef. So like, my family used to help run a church in Bayshore, and I don't know if you know this about Bayshore, Long Island. There's like a big like witch community. There's like a white Wicca community. It's like massive. In Bayshore, it's very.
All right, I'm going with it. I'm going.
And then
it's very strange. Like, there's a Wiccan community.
There's a if you go near Captain Bill's in Bayshore, across the street there's like a witch temple that somebody runs out of their house. Like you look on top of the front door is like a goat skull and stuff.
All right.
But I remember like one Sunday. Because my dad wasn't the head pastor, he was the assistant pastor, so he helped like run things. He never made any money as a pastor. And on one Sunday, witches came out and were like casting spells at our church, and
what do you, like
they were like casting spells at us. They're like, get out of here,
but
dude. It was spiritual warfare.
Yeah, but it's such like a.
Dude, you don't know any... Dude, my whole life, I've been dealing with spiritual warfare.
Yeah, but that's so, like, I feel like...
Dude, we're going at them. We prayed back at them.
See, it's such a weird thing.
Dude, we're praying. Dude, this is the thing about evangelical Christianity that people, like, really don't understand. There's these people that we have in church called prayer warriors, who are basically... They're called prayer warriors.
That's a real... Okay.
And they're all, like, the most clinically obese single women in their 50s in church who just have nothing.
Lots of cats.
Yeah, literally. And all they pray. Their expertise is spiritual warfare. And they were going hard praying at the witches. Dude, we scared them off.
So like
we won.
But don't you think? Okay, I'm gonna say it. At a certain point,
dude, spiritual battle, we flanked them.
But don't you both? You're both doing the same thing.
Yeah, but we're stronger.
And in my brain, I see...
They don't have Jesus. We have Jesus on our side.
Like, I envision... Did you ever see the Care Bears when they're losing their shit and they're doing, like, the Care Bear stare and they shooting shit like... Dude, was there, like, a beam of yellow from, like, the good yellow from God, and then a blackish gray from the Satan worship?
Yeah, but we can't see it in this dimension. It's spiritual warfare.
I wanted to have a sound effect.
Dude, I wish you could see the prayer warriors.
Wish you could see Chris losing his shit right now, off camera, crying, laughing. A prayer warrior.
Dude, they're warriors. You go in there, if you go and you get a cancer report, you visit the prayer warriors and they go to town.
But doesn't that kind of go against Christianity too?
What? Dude, don't you dare. Don't you dare say the prayer warriors are blasphemy.
I feel like they could be.
They've been going to war.
Okay,
dude,
but
they fought the witches off.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? The power of God is in all of us.
Yeah.
So for you to be like, but I got a little bit more power of God, it's a little pretentious. No. Yo, I'm a prayer warrior. Settle down. I'm a prayer journeyman. No. What? I'm just a prayer apprentice. Someday I'm going to be a prayer master.
It's like, listen, we all have it within us to become a black belt in jiu-jitsu, right?
Right.
Okay, so we all have that capability. That's like they have a black belt in prayer.
Oh my God! But No, come
Dude,
on.
you
Oh,
do-
now
you
you're being
cannot-
serious, or are you doing a bit?
No, I'm not. Dude, I'm telling you, prayer warriors are real. They're real, and they fought off the witches. The witches backed down because they knew.
So you're still consider yourself an evangelical Christian?
Yeah, I still go.
So
I still go to church.
How are you doing that? Because not to make shit on you, but like I know a lot of people who are that, and they are not able to be friends with other people because certain things like it's Sunday. Right. And we don't leave the house. We hang out at home because it's the Lord's Day. It's the day of rest.
Okay, yeah.
You know, but like you do shows on Sunday.
Yeah.
So like, are you just? Is your like?
This is.
I guess
okay.
You're more of a liberal sect of Christianity.
This is the weird thing about evangelical Christianity, right? So like, the Catholic Church, right, has the Vatican.
The real church.
Yeah. Don't bring that papist nonsense around me. You idol worshippers now.
I'm sorry. The Catholic Church has
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm really fucking with you. Being a wise ass. You're the bedrock of Christianity. No, so yes, they have their hierarchy of the Pope and all,
it's centralized, right? So it's a centralized, like everything kicks up to the Vatican. The Vatican breaks down to the diocese, but there's an agreed upon, like we all believe these specific things that makes us all Catholic. It has all these specific beliefs.
It's like the mafia.
Right. Well, it's set up like any structure, right? Of any type of big organization.
Right, yeah.
The issue with evangelical Christianity is that there is no head anywhere.
Right.
So anybody can start an evangelical Christian church. That's why there's so many different varies of people being extreme and not, because it's dependent upon the church you go to, not because it's really a large like faith that has to kick up to a church somewhere.
But would you consider certain people not that who consider themselves that?
What do you mean?
Like, okay, because I'm sure that you probably met other people that are like, I'm an evangelical Christian, and you're like, no, I feel like you're kind of like not as, or there are people out there, I'm sure, that probably look at you just for getting tattooed right now and are like,
there's different levels and that's what makes it really convoluted and confusing to people.
It's interesting.
Because you go to some churches and it's like really laxed. So there's like a concept. So there's like a weird thing if we're gonna get into the nitty gritty of it. But
now we're gonna get in the nitty gritty.
But it is kind of interesting. So like because evangelical Christianity. So with evangelical Christianity, there's it's like kind of a vague term because evangelical encompasses Pentecostal, Baptist, and Presbyterian, which are all sects of Christian faith that really kind of started in America. They're like the American Protestant faiths.
Right.
And so evangelical encompasses all of that. So it gets convoluted. When I use evangelical, because that's like a term that people use because it's a politicized term and people understand it.
Yeah, I think that sounds so much better. Like I was always, this kid, we were like, oh, those are the born again Christians. Like,
yeah, and also born again Christian is a blanket term because there's born again Baptist and born again Pentecostal. So I grew up born again Pentecostal, and Pentecostal are the Christians that speak in tongues. Are you right? You've heard of that.
Yeah. You have that whole bit on that.
Yeah.
It's a great bit, by the way.
Oh, thank you. So there's that aspect. So it gets convoluted because you go to some churches like, oh, it's evangelical, and they're speaking in tongues, and people are like, what's that? And then they go to another one, and then they're not speaking in tongues, and they don't realize one's Baptist, one's a Pentecostal, and then this is what even gets more convoluted about it. All those churches brand themselves as non-denominational, even though they all have a very clear denomination. Yeah. They're like, this is non-denominational means like we are Christian, but we don't think just because you're Catholic or just because you're Orthodox, you're going to go to hell. We think as long as you accept Jesus Christ as your Savior, you're going to go to hell.
Yeah, as long as you've been saved.
So it's really confusing. Right. So that's why I always have a hard time talking about it on stage, because everybody has so many different ideas of what it is. Because you have hardcore evangelical, which are like old school Pentecostal, which are very like old school, especially like Southern Pentecostal, which is like the tent revivals.
Yeah.
Praying in tongues
snakes,
intensely.
Drinking strychnine.
Yeah. Well, that's like the most extreme. The snake wranglers no longer exist, but they were big. That was big in Appalachia. Was like you would have the snake wrangler Pentecostals. But if you go to like the church, like Pentecostal churches in the South are like really intense and like really controlling over their congregation. And then you also have under the same blanket as Evangelical is like Hillsong, which Hillsong is basically like, I don't want to say corporate church, but like they're like the Walmart version of church.
So insane how
So
much shit there is.
they're big. So Hillsong, their mother church is in Australia. And then they kind of have franchise churches all over the U.S.
It's almost
and
like a
all
weird cult-like version.
It's weird, but there's a lot of beef within the Christian community with it Hillsong, because Hillsong, when their services are only 45 minutes long, which is big in my church community. 45, that's like a no. They're like, whoa, like you don't want to give
should be all day.
Yeah, like I've had like 6-hour like church services. And but so they have 45, and they don't really quote much scripture, and they don't take a hard take on things. Like they never bring up gay marriage, they never bring up abortion, they never bring up anything. So that's what's called like a seeker-friendly church.
They're trying to play it neutral because they want more people to come
Yes,
there.
and they are massive. It is true. They get a lot of people.
You wonder where your alliance is to money.
Yeah,
or
well, that's where it gets sketchy and that's where a lot of people have like beef with them, because it's like, yeah, you get a lot of people in church.
Yeah.
Because there's like a mixed thing. It's like you're getting a lot of people in church, which Christians like, but it's like you're not preaching what's called like a hard message, and they're like, that's a secret. And calling a church a seeker-friendly church, that's fighting words amongst the
that's
Christian
just
community.
like that's just saying that you're kind of like vanilla.
You're soft.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like you're soft. You don't want to offend anybody. You're not, and they also don't really quote scripture a bunch.
Or fire and brimstone kind of
Yeah, I've been to those services.
Christianity where they're
Yeah.
telling you you're gonna. Personally, I feel like the best is the Westboro Baptist Church. I mean,
that's where you subscribe to.
I feel like if any of them are going to be right, it's going to clearly be
Yeah, the most intense.
the Westboro Baptist Church. You've heard it here, folks.
Yeah. You're gonna see me and Rob at a soldier's funeral.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, why are these soldiers dying in the name of Gaydom, you know?
Yeah.
It's going to be,
It looks good. I was looking at a mirror and I was like, yeah, this
we'll
looks...
shade it in right and make it come together nice. I love about comedy, like you talking about, like how heavy duty your background is with religion.
Yeah.
And how, but like comedy is so cool because everybody is something different.
Yes.
And yet we're all like, because I've seen, we all know the same people out here in the scene, and like,
Yeah.
you definitely, you get along with everybody.
Right.
It's not like I don't get along with him, but like, comedy's so cool if it's done correctly, like I think it is out here, like gay, straight, black, white, Republican, Democrat.
Yeah.
We're all pretty much comics first, you know?
Well, yeah, we're comics first, and you realize everybody really is the same. It's just there's different... I like to think of it's like everybody's the same formula. You're just plugging in different numbers, or like, and that's like their different experience or whatever. But like,
Yeah, funny is funny.
but
you
like
know?
I get along. I don't think there's really any time I have never gotten along with somebody who's like a legit comic. Like I can get along with any comic.
Now, would you draw a line because of religion in anything?
What do you mean?
Like, no, because I feel like certain things are like, it's such a hard thing to explain. Because you think about certain comics and they're like very like, liberal, gay, openly, whatever it is. And that kind of goes against a lot of religious type stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like working with certain people like that, like no, right? Because we're just all comics. Like there's no.
No, I mean, listen. Like, I still go to church, but I'm not a good Christian. I'm not a good one.
But would you work with like a Satanist? I mean, that's an interesting one because I definitely have met people who are. But here's the thing about it. A lot of Satanists don't even believe in Satan. It's just just a way for them to get over on the Christians.
No, if we're performing on the same show, I'm like, I won't start a podcast with them. But like, if we're working in the same show, I'm not going to work with a guy, like, Yeah. And if somebody is a Satanist, like, I'm a really, really open-minded person. So like, I'm more curious than anything. And I'm not the type where I think like, if I conversate with this guy, I'm going to go to hell. I'm curious.
Right.
I'm like, how? Because I have friends like, I have friends who are atheists. I've dated girls that are atheists, like, I don't think I really have any qualms like that. I also think that's just like a disservice. It's like, it makes you just, when you're like that, especially if you're religious, if you're like, I don't even conversate with somebody who is different, then that's just a disservice, because then you don't know what perspective they're coming from.
No, and I get that makes sense. I mean, and do you feel like you are that way because you're a comic, or is it just bigger than that?
I actually think I'm that way because, so growing up, my brothers were like really good athletes. They both played college football. And then me, when I was in high school, I was a terrible athlete. And because I didn't want to play sports, my parents were like, you're going to have to work if you're not going to play sports. So I worked. So I started working.
Wait, what the fuck? That's it? Like, you have to work? You can't join newspaper club or some shit? Like,
no, well, I wasn't interested in doing that stuff. I was like,
well, it's off to the mill for you if you don't want to play lacrosse. Like, son of a bitch.
Well, if I joined yearbook club, my siblings would just call me gay relentlessly.
Yeah, well, that does make you. It makes you gay.
It does make you. Yearbook club does make you gay. But
true.
But I wasn't interested, and so I was like, well, I guess I'll work. So I started. So I think why I became open-minded, I started working at Starbucks, and I was at the age of, I was 16, and I was working with people a lot older than me, and they were all from different, very much like comics, like all different walks of life. And I became friends with them, and there were types of people that like I wouldn't have encountered otherwise.
All right, yeah.
So like that created my open-mindedness, because I'm like, yeah, they have completely different beliefs than me, but like I can still laugh with them. I can still. So I think that's where it stems from, and I think comedy just expedited that, because people were, and I also naturally like when somebody's really different. Like I mean, and I'm sure you're the same way. Which is actually a rare trait, where it's like I could really get along with people I completely disagree with.
Yeah, cause
like really easy. Like it does not bother me. But I have plenty of people I know who are like especially politically, if they're like, I don't agree with this person politically, I cannot hang out with them. And that's on both sides of the spectrums. And I'm like, that's just like so stupid, because
boring.
It's just really boring. Like I don't want to hang out with somebody who's not going to give me a new perspective on something, or or make me think in a weird way. It's like, oh, why? But I'm also somebody who is curious. A lot of people are literally not curious about anything outside of their world. I just recently started talking about how I grew up, because I just felt like I finally got good enough where I could present it the way I wanted to, because it's very easy, especially the way I grow up. Because, like, it's like, listen, I'm not the best. I question my faith, all the time. And, like, I'm figuring out for myself now that I'm, like, an adult, And, like, I always had a hard time writing for it, because I don't want to come off as the guy who's like, yeah, I grew up that way, but it's stupid that people believe that. Because, like, I don't believe that.
Someone that's like a turncoat on their religion, like, dumbass family that I got. But I'm still okay with this. I'm like, these people raised me. I don't believe that. I don't believe I'm smart. I have my questions. I don't believe I'm smarter than them. So, because it's very easy for me to be like, especially when I go into New York City. I go to New York City, I do the bit, I grew up in an evangelical Christian family. I get audible boos. Mm-hmm. Like, people would be like, boo! Which is odd, because that's the only religion. Like, if I went, I was a Jew, and I was like, and people were like, boo, they'd fucking get arrested. You should write a bit about that, literally, that you're booing somebody's belief system.
It's like, because you almost, like, because you can't even do that, because you can't really even do that to Catholics, because people are like, well, you'll get flack. But for whatever reason, evangelical Christianity, people could be like, fucking, I hate you.
Well, and unfortunately, what they've mostly portrayed with the media has always been...
It's always been massively negative.
Style of, like, they come and they say crazy things, and they...
Yeah.
And they they believe that you're going to hell, and they protest and knock on your door, and you're like, wow, what, really?
Yeah. So, like, when I go into the city, like, it would be easy for me to rail against it. And I can. But, like, I'm like, that's not a service to how I grew up. Because I do, even though I do have religious trauma from it, for sure. Especially with the end times message and stuff. It really used to screw with me when I was young. But
oh, yes, the end times message.
The end times message is tough.
The what? The Book of Revelation?
Book of Revelation.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Book of Revelation, yeah.
I do, but it just sounded very like, the end times, very casual.
That's like the classic, because that's the classic.
End of the world
that's
and
like
stuff.
That's like the classic thing that freaks people out is the end times, and a lot of churches harp on it.
Yeah, the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying, and so it's easy for me to go into New York City and be like they're stupid, but I'm like that's not my experience. It's more of a cultural experience for me. Like I identify like when I say I'm an evangelical Christian, I say it the same way people say I'm Italian or I'm Irish or something.
Yeah,
it's
that makes
extremely
sense.
cultural because I grew up with Christian movies, Christian cartoons, our own version of Happy Birthday. I don't remember it, but I know some. I got to research it.
You don't remember the magical Happy Birthday song that you...
Because my parents didn't do it, but I have family friends that did it. So I have to...
Why would there be a separate Happy Birthday song?
I forgot why.
All right, I'm sorry. I derailed you on that, but
No.
people want to know what the Happy Birthday song is.
Because I have brought it up, I do need to find out. My sister-in-law's family used to do the separate Happy Birthday. But, but it's like the separate Happy Birthday, separate music, separate movies. So it's like its own culture. In a weird way, and I want to present it like that. Like this is just how I grew up. Like I grew up really weird. You guys should want to listen to this rather than being like it's dumb, sky ghost.
Well, a lot of people.
That's it. You found it.
Yeah.
May God warm your heart. This is it. May God warm your heart and grant peace upon you, not only on your birthday but for every single day of your life. Happy birthday to you. Always remember that my prayers are always with you, no matter how far I am. You're a beautiful soul. God loves you. I don't remember the melody, though.
I feel like there's just a lot of not talking about the birthday in that song. Like, oh yeah, by the way, God also...
Because praise be to He.
But what? Was that from the Handmaid's Tale? What was...
Praise be to He is just a common...
Praise be to He.
Dude, don't even get me started on Christianese.
Christianese?
There's Christian... It's called, in the church world... Dude, in the church world, Christianese, it's like when people... I'm trying to think of like a good Christianese like saying.
Oh, Christianese, like a language.
Yeah. It's like, but it's all just like sayings like let go and let God.
Have you seen The Handmaid's Tale?
No.
Yeah, you should watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably why you're encountering some people who are like, oh, you're one of those.
Yeah.
They're not Christians in that.
Yeah.
In any sense of the word. It's almost, you know what it is? The Handmaid's Tale is basically like, say there was a whole entire war and it broke out in the United States, and then the government that conquered us was a mixture of the Westboro Baptist Church and the Third Reich.
Gotcha.
So it's a very but it's got a lot of phrases like that where they're like, what's the one all the time that she would always say? She would always say something all the time. Oh yeah, they would just be like, "Blessed be the fruits," and like it was Christian.
Oh yeah. That's complete Christianese. What was on my back is underneath my feet. Like yeah.
They would just say things like under his eyes. Like what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Whose eyes? What's going on here?
Yeah, there's a whole Christianese is a real thing. But yeah, it's a whole separate culture. So like when I talk about it on stage, it's like I never want to come off as like the bitter guy who left because really most people leave their religions because their parents like screwed up presenting it to them as kids. That's my theory, because my parents really did a good job of like presenting it to us and having us go to church, but kind of not really using it to scare the shit out of us. A lot of parents would use it to scare the shit out of their kids.
Yeah.
My parents were very good at like still being like kind of strict, but giving us enough space to like not be to not literally live in fear.
Yeah, that's always a weird, like, I never understood the phrase, maybe we can explain it, God-fearing, like a God-fearing Christian, like,
right.
Why? Why would anybody fear? I never understood that growing up.
Right.
What does that even mean entirely? Like, is it a...
It's like God fear, like, well, people like overuse like certain terms, like, like you're supposed to fear God, and what that really means is like when someone, it's like you're not supposed to deny Him. you know, it's like when someone goes, "You're a Christian," like you should be like, "Yes, I am," rather than
Right.
being like, "Oh, I don't know." But people, yeah, well, that's like a very American term. Like he's a God-fearing man.
Yeah, it's like an old.
Yeah, like an old-timey
You know?
term. A God-fearing term, but like then also people like have used, like churches have like abused using the fear of God to control people.
Right. Right.
Because it's like you should fear God because he's the Almighty. This is the man that can send you to eternal damnation if he wants to. So there's that, but then there's also God is love. So it's always a weird thing. That's why it's where I could give the flowers to evangelical Christianity where it's due. There's a heavy emphasis on the congregation reading the Bible themselves. And figuring out things for themselves rather than like where like more the Catholic tradition is like the priest reads it and interprets it for you.
Right. Yeah, that was the old school way of.
Which I
keeping
think it's changed, right?
It has, yeah, but it was very much a case of like, I mean, for centuries it was written in Latin, and only the educated would be able to read Latin, and the educated were essentially the priest's class.
Yeah.
You know, the aristocracy. So it was kind of in some ways I feel like designed as a weapon to keep the poor into their positions of. You couldn't read the Bible because you didn't know how to read it, and don't worry, we'll tell you what it is. And there was a lot of things in there that were like, well, prior to Martin Luther and the 95 Theses, like the whole entire turning around and basically saying that these are the things that are wrong with the church, right? So you had, what was the big thing you were able to buy? Buy out your sins, kind of, right?
No, well, the main thing was the Catholic Church was going. When your family members die, they go into purgatory, and you have to pay a certain fee so they can go to heaven.
I mean, that's crazy, but you got to admire the con, man. That is solid. Like, what? Like, did this work? Like, yeah.
It worked with everybody, because you couldn't, especially back in medieval Europe, you couldn't question. You couldn't be like, hey, maybe they might be just extorting us for money.
But then also too, you had divine rule, so people thought that their religious, their religious and political leaders were the hand of God.
Yeah. Was it divine right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is it's just like a really interesting concept that like people lived under that and like, but nobody questioned it because everybody was.
Yeah, no, it's true.
It's just it is really interesting. I've also been bouncing around in my head. I'm like, what if in my head, right? I don't think I'll ever be I could never be an atheist. But I've been toying. I'm like, what if I tried out a different sect of Christianity? Like I would try out the Orthodoxy.
Wait, so you're talking about like Orthodox, like
Greek Orthodox.
why that one?
Well, because they're just
That's
as old.
a
They're just
weird
as
one.
old as the Catholic Church.
Right. Okay.
And I don't know. I feel like it's very. I kind of like because I feel like there's not really much tomfoolery with the
Tomfoolery.
tomfoolery.
Oh, easy there, Samuel Clemens. With a fucking tomfoolery.
I feel like I could be wrong. I'm sure people in the comment section would tell me I'm wrong, but I feel like there's not a lot of issues with the Orthodoxy. I feel like they don't really run into a lot of problems that either Catholicism or evangelicalism kind of.
Well, they're bound by two different things. They're bound culturally and religious, like
right.
So it's different, like, and their priests all look like homeless wizards.
It's nice though.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of like it. Cause I grew up with pastors like who just dress like regular. Especially now, pastors go up on stage with like a t-shirt, and it kind of bothers me. I kind of want them to wear a suit.
I hate that too. Yeah.
Because they go up because that's like the new thing. That's a classic seeker-friendly church move.
Is it being hip and cool?
Being hip and cool, but like I'm like religion is not supposed to be cool.
No, you know
It's
what?
not supposed to be cool.
But I mean, okay, but at the same time, it should be, because I agree and disagree. I agree with like presenting yourself at the highest level you possibly can. You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be this guy. I'm gonna dress this way. I'm gonna dress myself like, because I'm trying to be show respect. That's what it is. It's about respect for the place that you're in. But at the same time, like, religion should be like, okay, if God is truly created all this stuff around us, right? Then it stands to reason that like Christian music should be all music, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, not like, well, this is Christian music. Well, but isn't all music Christian music? Because all music falls under the umbrella of God, so it's all God's gift to us. I mean, unless you're talking about murdering babies or something, maybe that's not the Christian way. But I'm just saying. So when Jimi Hendrix did that cool guitar solo at Woodstock, like, that's God's gift right there. So why does church have like the worst instruments?
But my trap would be like, are they giving glory to God?
Yeah, that's a sick riff, like.
Well, my church has a band. Like people rip guitar solos in my church.
See, that's something that you probably should have. My church just had like a guy that played the organ and then molested all the kids. and I wish that was a joke, but it's not. It's not. He's probably somewhere in
the Catholics got to drop the celibacy thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like,
because I don't even think it's biblical.
I get that, but that can't be. I get that because that literally goes back to they kept priests like that so that priests couldn't make money, so that priests would just have all their money would just be the church. The church would be, there was no, you know what I mean? Like they were kind of like stuck there. It was like you couldn't leave. You had no money, but. People always say, "Yeah, well, we do that, then the priests won't molest the kids anymore." And I'm just like, that's totally different. Well, I can't have sex with a lady, but I will molest children. Like, what? Like, I'm like, I don't know. It's like a weird thing. I mean, it's not like prison where you're stuck there and you can't get out and you have to, and you're suddenly bedding down with a lad. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. It is such a weird rule that Catholics hold on to, because I don't think there's any biblical standing that they have to be celibate.
Yeah, I don't really know either why that is. I mean, other than the fact that it was a money thing, the church controlled all the money. There was no one was going to inherit anything. No one was going to pass it on down to their kids. That's true.
I guess that.
That was what my not Episcopal. Yeah, my Episcopal grandmother always said. She was
a goddamn Church of England.
Oh yeah.
That's the weakest of churches.
That's the.
They have no respect amongst evangelicals. The Anglican Church.
There's church gang war here,
dude. There is sect beef.
That's so funny.
Dude, the Anglicans have no respect. They're so weak. They're the weakest of the Christians. They have like trans priests.
Wait, it was a trans priest.
Dude, the Anglican Church legitimately has like lesbian priests.
Yeah, but that's because they're the seekers of all the churches. Then
they're the most seeker friendly. They're so weak. They have no respect amongst Christians. I tried to write a bit about it, but people don't know much.
So inside baseball.
Yeah, people don't know enough about the sect, but the Anglican Church is the weakest.
That's the Church of England. Well, that's their official like.
They also
too, right?
Their genesis is kind of like weird. Their genesis is the King of England wanted a divorce, so he just created this sect. Yeah,
that's weird. See, my genesis is absolutely Phil Collins. Phil Collins every single in the air tonight. That genesis. All right, that was a terrible joke. That that was terrible. Yeah, no,
so
they basically.
I gave it the laugh.
They were the church that basically was like, I want to get married.
Yeah, they're like, I want a divorce. No, she didn't have. There wasn't any infidelity. I just don't want to be married to her. So it was around the same time Martin Luther dropped his, and he's like, you know what? Maybe we're Protestant now because
he dropped to what?
He dropped the theses.
I like you say he dropped the.
He dropped the. Like is it the 95 theses?
Like he was just walking around with like a mixtape. He's like, yo, son, check my new 95 theses.
It kind of probably wasn't that far off. They're like, you see Martin Luther? He's dropping the 95 Theses. He's
Yo, son.
yo, Martin Luther, his word is bond.
All right, this is actually a good segue now, since we just segued from Christianity into hip hop, because you have a hip hop background.
I do have a hip hop.
Which is the most random thing. It doesn't get any more
Dude,
random.
I had bars.
Did you do Christian hip hop?
I did for a minute.
Oh, but you got to know that.
I did initially because I just really wanted my parents to not like bust my chops about it. So I just on GarageBand I recorded a couple Jesus-friendly verses.
Did you have to apologize to the church for that? I feel like that probably
give me like a shame ritual.
Yeah, be like, oh, what'd you do? It's like we usually don't do this, but you have to do some kind of like flog your back with a cat of nine tails, old medieval shit to get rid of the fact that you released a hip hop.
No, but I had something growing up. I had something worse I had to do in front of the churches. I would have to do choreographed dances in front of the churches every Christmas.
Like what? Like the Achy Breaky Heart, like country line dancing?
No, like we would do like a hip hop number.
Whoa, who put that together?
My sister-in-law.
All right, so your sister-in-law has you dancing.
Yeah, well, she didn't make me. She didn't make me.
Oh, you wanted to do it. You were like, you know what?
She choreographed it.
You know what? Make church great this week.
Dude, there's a lot of dance numbers in evangelical churches.
That's just weird.
I hate bringing it back, but the flag dancers.
What's a flag dancer?
Dude,
Are they like the fly girls?
Dude, they would go off. People would go crazy for the flag dancers.
What does that
They would
even
have
mean?
like they would just wave. They were like really good at like waving flags. That's the only way I can describe it.
That sounds like Republicans. That's what that's like. Just driving down the road with a fuck Biden flag.
Honestly, it was for a church thing. It was the gayest thing you could possibly see.
So yeah, I mean, because that just seems like. So wait, you're doing like I'm
not flag dancing. I'm doing the hip hop
football.
number.
Like football would have like the girls that would come out and twirl flags.
Kinda, yes, yeah, kinda.
Okay, so they were doing this in the name of God, because God loves flags apparently.
Yeah, well, that's their form of worship.
No, that's nope. I feel like that's no. You're not allowed to. That can't be it. That can't be it.
Dude, we all worship God in different ways.
I feel like if God was,
this is where we don't agree.
God would be like,
dude, don't make me call in the prayer warriors right now to rebuke you.
God was like, the crackers you're eating are okay, the candles are right, the song's a bit much, but the flag girls.
The flag, well, they weren't always girls. They were male flag dancers.
Wow.
They were flagging.
They were flaggets. Get it?
Big flaggets.
You might have to edit out flaggets.
No, we can get away with that. Yeah. We can get away.
No, so you were flagging around.
So no, I was not a flag dancer. I did hit a group hip hop number a couple times.
And so what was
and
the
then also I
song?
rapped. You
had a solo.
I had a solo rap career. I did a couple Christian rap songs to like try and get my parents on board when I was like 16. Reluctantly did it. But then I had like I don't want to say an actual rap career. I did not. But I would go to like recording studios from like 17 to like 19, and I'd rap and I would make mixtapes and I would make my own beats.
You were handing them out like Martin Luther down there.
I was legit Martin Luther.
I was just handing out
I was pinning them on people's front doors.
What was your wonderful name?
Crayon.
But it was spelled like with cray, like
so it was
like your last name Hahn, like Cray Hahn.
No, not Cray Hahn, but it was so it's a combination of my first, middle, and last name because my full name is Christian Raymond Hahn. So Crayon, but I spelled it CRAY hyphen AHN.
You put the hyphen in there because you're trying to like pander to the to the hip hop community a little bit.
Yeah. It's like I have to throw a hyphen in there.
Yeah.
For
I mean, you know what? The fact that you're owning this, I think, is pretty.
It's my past. I have to. I can't hide it anymore. I've talked about it too much. It's out there.
Yeah, and so like, can you? Do you remember any of like?
No, I'm not dropping a 16.
Spit some bars.
I don't remember my bars, but I do if I can be honest.
Okay.
Every once in a while, I do get an inclination. I'm like, I should write a verse. I get a little like, I should write a verse. just to see, just to drop.
Because I
It
mean,
is-
I guess it's because you're just like you're very white. Do you understand? Like
I am like really quintessential white.
yeah, you're not. There's no like.
Yeah.
You know, some people that are into like the hip hop like game, you're like, oh, I could see maybe he like might have grown up in like a neighborhood where he was around people that were like that, and but no, I feel like
I know, and I did not grow around people. People like that.
I feel like the hood is the last place that evangelical Christians would like. Is there like a big like scene in Compton for like that? You know?
Well, there's black churches.
Yeah, but like that scene doesn't usually comes more out of like. Like the hood.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the hood's
No.
not like that. Nah.
No, I mean, I didn't grow up in the hood. I wasn't in the. I mean, I did when I was rapping. I was going to recording studios in real hoods.
Yeah.
And dropping some bars.
Was,
Just doing a couple features.
It was getting fucking silly. All right.
I was getting a little silly.
I like it.
But I dropped it.
Almost spot. I'm just mumbling to myself here. Yeah, this is interesting. So the crayon thing, C-R. Hey, say it again. Spell it out.
CRAY hyphen AHN. Because my last name is HAHN.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was clever.
I can't. I don't know.
Dude, I was dropping bars. I was making beats. I was in recording studios. I was in a recording.
Oh, I love this. I
was in a recording studio. My big and Tony Yayo walked in of G Unit.
The G Unit.
It was but it was far past his prime.
Yeah, but still, like I mean.
So he didn't do a song with me. I was just on the way out. He was on his way in. I was like, Tony Yayo.
I mean, but did you have a crew? Like, were there like other? Like, did you have like a? Was there a little net? No, not just.
I didn't have a posse.
Yeah, I feel like you guys all just showed up with just crazy like, I don't know. I have a visual in my head. I can't explain it.
No, it was far less. It was really just me paying for studio time, coming up with terrible songs, and then the guy who was the audio engineer just being like, "Yo, dude, you're great." Clearly lying to me, because he knows I would pay for studio time.
And so you just kept going every week. What studio is this?
I won't name it because
you don't wanna get a lawsuit.
I somewhat still know this guy.
You won't name it, not because you know him, but because you're like, sometime you're just gonna go and record another album real quick.
I might show up and just record another mixtape. You never know. I might just drop a mixtape on you.
I feel like if you ever do release an album and it doesn't have a fucking track on it, like then you're not releasing an album, you know?
Dude, I do often think about, like, I'm like, because I could still write. I could still do it. Don't get it twisted. I can't freestyle off the top of my head. That I will not do. Have you ever listened to Joe Rogan? It's like literally the same facts over and over again, but I still listen.
I was gonna say, you're gonna talk crap about Joe Rogan, are you?
No.
Yo, it's weird to me how people get so offended and then defensive on Joe Rogan. Because I really don't feel like when I watch that, I really don't feel like there's such a need to be upset by him.
Right.
Or to be like defending him either. He's fine, you know? Like
he's kind of a net neutral. Like it's like I think people more just get upset with his guests rather than him.
Right, yeah, 100%.
Because he'll have anybody on, and I think people just attribute his guests to him.
Yeah. I mean, because he's had like left wing and right wing and chicken wing, you know, it's no...
But he presses everybody pretty fairly. Like, he doesn't really let anybody kind of off the hook, in my opinion. So,
no.
Like, I don't know. But people beef with it, but, I mean, I think people more associate him with the people that actually listen to him. Right,
there's a lot of bros that listen to him.
Yeah.
But, you know what, I feel like, he has some of the nerdiest dudes on there, too. No one's ever going to be like, oh, that Neil deGrasse Tyson son, like, you see, yeah, he's not.
Yeah.
He's a nerdy dude.
Even though I low-key, like, hate Neil deGrasse.
I do, too.
He's
a bullshit artist.
He sucks.
He's the worst.
It's like, listen, whether what he says is true or not, that doesn't matter to me. He's just like, he just seems like the worst hang. Like he just goes. Every Christmas. He's like Santa can't. It's like shut up. Who cares?
Yeah,
You're annoying.
Boring.
He's just boring. You know what? He's a know-it-all. I hate know-it-alls. He's a big know-it-all. He's a big know-it-all, and he's overcompensating because people made fun of him growing up, so now he has to be a know-it-all for the rest of his fucking life. And it sucks. He sucks. Nobody wants to hang out with him. And you know what? I was happy that he got a sexual assault claim because he...
What?
Yeah, he got me
too.
too.
Beat. Ugh.
He did, and I'm happy.
I wonder
and I'm
how,
happy.
How did it go down? He was just like, oh,
I don't know what it was.
Take a look at this
It seemed to go away pretty quickly, so I don't think it was that bad, but he stinks. I don't like him. He's a big know-it-all.
He's just boring to me.
Yeah,
like, here he comes Neil again with his science. Like, science is beat. Science nowadays isn't even science anymore. It's just annoying. It used to be like, I mean, the idea of science and the way it's supposed to work, I completely understand and agree with.
Right.
But now it's not anymore. Science is so far from... Science has become more like religion.
Yeah.
In the way of, like, you couldn't question the Catholic Church, you know, a couple hundred years ago. And now it's the same way with science. Like, you can't question it. It's the scientific... And I'm like, yeah. You guys have to... Not until you start apologizing for your bullshit science am I going to start to accept what you consider to be... Because they're like, well, science is... I'm like, yeah, what about all that science back in the day that was telling us it was okay to smoke? Or what about the science that told us that, you know... eugenics.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's true. What about the science that said that women were inferior to men because their brains were smaller? And the science, well, that was a different kind of science. I'm like, when I was growing up in the 80s, 90s, I remember in the beginning when they were like, oh, AIDS is just gay people. It's a gay thing. That's science. Like, oh, it is? And now it's like, well, maybe AIDS didn't come from a guy that banged a monkey in the fucking jungle. Maybe.
You know what
science? Maybe that science was wrong.
You know what science? Lobotomies.
Yeah.
They'd go, like, someone would be like, oh, I'm misbehaving in the classroom. They'd be like, okay, you have to take this part of their brain out of their head.
So, you know.
My only thing with science is, I just wish they would be like, hey, like, I just wish they'd be like, we are wrong sometimes.
Right, exactly.
Just admit that you're wrong sometimes, and I'd be like, it's fun. But they're always like, it's right. I'm like, yeah, in 20 years, it's going to be fucking wrong. Like, just be like, it might, what I'm saying right now might be wrong in 20 years, but this is as much as we know. Have some, this is the problem. There's no humility in science, because they're bitter dorks, and I hate them. They're bitter dorks who nobody wants to have sex with, so this is how they get away with it. And you know what? Sorry, I'm not going to say the word, but I'm happy they're all on Epstein Island, and because they can't get it anywhere else, you dorks. You know what, Stephen Hawking?
Go for it!
Burn in hell. Burn in hell. I hate you. I don't care about you.
Stephen Hawking?
Yeah, I hate him. You know what? I'm happy he was in a wheelchair now.
Oh my God!
Because he's a know-it-all.
Yeah.
He's a big old know-it-all.
He knew how to do a lot of things. He didn't know how to get up and stand.
He called people who had any type of faith of anything really stupid, and then guess what? He's touching kids because he can't get pussy. Shut up. You fucking take the handicap fucking ramp to hell, you piece of shit.
That's right.
Yeah, fucking good. That's why I'm happy. You know what? I'm happy Bill Gates is a piece of shit. I hope you know Bill Gates was touching kids. Fucking computer dork. Shut up. I hate you.
Oh my God.
You think you know everything. You don't know anything.
I love it the first time someone's had a rant on the show, and it wasn't me.
I hate scientists. They suck. I just wish there's none with... If there's one scientist with just an ounce of humility, I wouldn't be this mad. But they're such arrogant pieces of shit dorks. It's like, shut up. Nobody wants to hang out with you. That's why you do Pythagorean theorem, you fucking pussy. I hate them.
They never admit that they're wrong.
It's like there's no humility. You just be like, hey, I came up with this theory. It might be, it could be wrong, but this is the best I got. Just say that. Have some humility.
Like, all this rotted meat causes flies. Like, what? No, that's not how it works.
It just, but they're always like, I'm right, you're wrong, and you're dumb. It's like your shit, you're dumb. It's like your shit gets disproven 20 years later every fucking time. Are you right?
Well, yeah, that's the one thing you could say for religion. Okay, so religion might be crazy at times and do some sane bullshit, right? But here's the thing. People that believe in religion pretty much have believed the exact same thing
Yeah.
for thousands
level
of
of
years.
consistency.
They're not like, it's not like if you go back 200 years, Buddha was a red-haired ginger kid. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Buddha's always been a fat Asian dude with ear
Yeah.
plugs. That's it,
Yeah.
you know? And then, but religion is like, well, you know, now cigarettes are bad for you, but they used to be okay and help with digestion. Like, what?
Yeah.
How did when I was a kid in health class, they taught me that a homosexual man had sex with a monkey, and that's how AIDS happened. And that literally
And that was
sounds,
scientific fact for a number of years.
I was like, what do you mean? Like, how did he have sex? He just did it. It sounded like something your grandfather would say when he was drunk.
Dude, it's a mythical story.
And they're like, and this is brought to you by science. And then they're like, it's disproven. And they're like, well, that was junk science. And I'm like, well,
it was in textbooks for a number of years.
Here's something that gets me every time, and I want someone to fight me in the comments on this one. Okay, scientists, right?
Yeah.
All the scientists that were in Nazi Germany, whether they said it out loud or not, they had to believe in eugenics.
Yes.
So all the scientists in Nazi Germany believed in eugenics. Therefore, all those scientists were bullshit scientists, right?
Yeah.
Not real junk science, not real garbage science, right? But when the war ends with Operation Paperclip, we bring as many of those shitty scientists over to the United States, and we put them in control of Brookhaven Labs and Plum Island and NASA. And you're like, wait a minute, I thought these guys were crackheads, crackpots who didn't believe in anything. Yeah, but still,
but nobody else wants to do the math.
So it's like, so wait a minute. So all these people believed in insane shit, but because they could get a rocket to outer space, we could just wipe their records. So that's why when people like, you know what, just trust in the science. I'm like, you know what, maybe
with a grain of salt.
I trust in the scientific method 100%.
Yeah.
I believe that's how it works. You prove things out, sure, and they're wrong, and then they be, you know, but the whole thing where it's like science has become is it sacrosanct? Is that the word where you're like, it can do no wrong, it's infallible, like Dr. Fauci was the Lord High King of Science through an entire.
Dude, when I grew up in health class, they had the food pyramid. And the food pyramid was like, eat as much fucking grain and rice and bread as you can. Chug gallons of milk. Eat as much cheese as you want. Because then it comes out and they're like, that's completely wrong. Every nutritionist is like, no, you shouldn't be. Your diet shouldn't be 85% grain. It's fucking like, why? I don't know. It's like they're just wrong. It's like they're shit switching. They get it right. They get a few things right. They nailed gravity. I'll give it to them. You got gravity. The Earth is round. You have classics. But it just admit
classics.
You got classics.
Yeah. Everybody loved Gravity. That was a great album.
The Earth is round. We revolve around the sun. You got the classics. We understand that. But it's just admit it's not everything you come up with. It's like it could easily be disproven in 25 years from now. Just be like, hey, it's all right. I think we got it right. I think we got it. But they go and they're just fucking dork mode and they're like, you played sports in high school. I hate you. I want to kick them in the face. I dislike them so much. Also, I have a little disdain because obviously I grew up evangelical Christian. Scientists,
they hate you guys.
Scientists are our natural enemy. So they always just called us fucking dumb and stupid growing up. So I just have a natural disdain for dorks.
No, I mean, but at least you guys have been consistent. That's all I'm saying.
The beliefs have been consistent every time.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's some stuff in that Bible that I've been like,
we've been holding it down.
I don't know. Some stuff in that Bible, I'm like, I don't know about that one. It's a weird one. But when they reprint the Bible, it's still in there.
It's still in there.
You know what I mean? They don't just what happened to that chapter with Cain and Abel? It's not here anymore. Well, no, we decided that it was a little bit much and probably wrong, so we took it out. No, they don't take it out. They go, no, we're sticking with it.
No, we're going to keep it in. we're gonna let it
You know what
rock.
I mean? It's not like every 10 years there's a new Bible with a totally different, like,
Who added this book?
like Jesus is wearing sunglasses and has cornrows. Like, that's weird. That's weird.
That's it. All I just ask is a little humility and a little consistent.
You don't have to get like a brand new Bible every 6 months. You're like, guys, listen, hey,
Bible dropped.
Did you get the new Bible? Because the old Bible wore out.
Yeah.
So the new Bible is going to be the one you have to get now. You know where I'm going with this.
That's it. So that's my opinion on science. Because here's the thing. Example, dinosaurs. I brought this up on Joe Winchell's podcast. I have a strong opinion. I was fucking pissed.
Well, you don't like dinosaurs?
No, it's not that I don't like them. I'm pissed because they can't make up their mind. Are they reptiles or did they have feathers? Make up your stupid mind.
It's a good point. It's a good point. It's good. You know what? Years ago, a point was made by who's the angry rant comic, older guy, Louis Black.
Louis Black, yes.
Whether or not is milk good or bad for you?
Right.
Well, nobody knows.
Nobody really knows.
And
It's
that's
kind
the
of
thing.
vague.
It's pretty hard to. It's pretty easy to figure that the fuck out. I mean, we've had milk since the beginning of time. We still have milk. We can do some tests with the milk and see if the milk is good or bad for us.
Milk's making a big comeback. Did you know this?
Is milk making a comeback?
Regular milk is making a big comeback right now.
What is it now? Now it's good for you. Now, like my doctor's like, no, you should be able to eat just straight butter. It's okay for you. I'm like, really? Because I remember growing up my arteries and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, arteries are gay. They're not really.
Eggs, dude. Classic fucking scientist move. My whole life they're like the egg yolks are bad for you. Now it comes out egg yolks are the fucking one of the best things you can have. Classic scientist double back.
This is true.
Milk, no, I shouldn't say milk's on a bit raw milk. Like people want it straight from the udder. No pasteurization.
Right out of the tit. Straight out the tit.
Straight from that. But dinosaurs. Let's bring up dinosaurs again.
All right, let's do this dinosaur thing.
My whole life, they're reptiles. They're big old reptiles. Now, all of a sudden, they're like the T-Rex had feathers. And now they're saying the Velociraptor wasn't as big as we thought it was. It's like, dude, this is what makes me mad. They find a knuckle bone, right? And they're like, oh, now we figured out what the whole thing looked like. Just be like, we don't really know. Just be like, we found the knee bone. We found the knee bone. We have genetic tests. We think this is what it looked like. Because they go, oh, you can find it in the DNA. It's like, dude, I can use an excuse for anything.
I love that you're as riled up about it as
Dude,
I am.
because it pissed me off. Like, fucking, you can use DNA as an, because that's nerd talk. That's what I don't like about it. Because nerds, this is how dorks operate. They use words that you don't understand, and they rely on you just trusting that you don't understand because they just go DNA. And it's like, I'm a regular person who has a life. I'm not gonna research DNA. You know, so you're just gonna tell me DNA and that's just gonna be the answer. Then you write it in the textbooks. I don't like this. See, they use their nerddom.
You're not saying dinosaurs aren't real.
No, I'm not saying they're not real.
No, there are some people that say that shit. I have a sister-in-law, and she don't believe in dinosaurs. No. Not for any religious reason, just because I don't know what happened to her. I really don't know. Some Barney the dinosaur, I don't know, made her angry as a kid.
I kind of respect people that hold it down that dinosaurs didn't exist.
She just says there's not enough proof for them, and I'm like, that's a weird thing, because there's a lot of proof that there was giant something. You know?
Yeah.
But then again, like you said, when I was growing up, when I was young, dinosaurs were reptiles. And then Jurassic Park came out, and they were like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if they were more like ostrich and peacocks?
Yeah.
Because you watch the movie, and you like see how they're like, and like, that's like a fucking crane. That's like
we didn't know how they sounded.
And all of a sudden now they sound like, I would like to think they sound like car horns. You know? Like, the T-Rex is just like, but the pterodactyl sounds like the saxophone in the Careless Whisper.
How disappointed would we be? I think if we went back to the Jurassic period, we'd be extremely disappointed at the life forms we would find. I think the dinosaurs would look really stupid. I think they would look really dumb. And I don't think they would look anything like
I think we went back to that point, we would see a guy that looks just like us, and he'd be like, what are you guys doing here? And like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm making you right now.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of something.
I'm mixing alien DNA to make you with the monkeys. What do you think I'm doing? Jeez.
Yeah.
God and science are both just like,
completely wrong. It was the aliens the whole time. That would be really disappointing. Honestly, I would be disappointed if it was aliens the whole time that created us. I know that's like the most plausible thing that people are putting out, but I'd be really disappointed.
Why?
Because I just feel like I don't want to be your test tube baby. You know, it's like I like you go and it's like we're like
It's pretty. It's like we
it's
know
very
we're half
it sounds
primate.
it sounds the most plausible, and I understand that, but I would be really disappointed.
Yeah.
It would just stink because it would just be like, oh, we're the dumb versions of you. None of this makes sense. You just created of us. We were just we were like, you know, like an ant farm.
Yeah.
Like we
no.
were their ant farm. And I feel like that's
we-
really disappointing.
Well, it's a weird.
That's
note
my
to-
opinion on science.
It's a weird note to end on, but guess what? We are.
We're done, and I love
Fine.
it.
I
love it.
want you to be able to go check a look in the mirror. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Look
go-
at that. And science. Look at this.
Science. They used science to make gunpowder.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They did. And witchcraft too. They
Yeah.
also used weird. They used
It
both.
better been a humble scientist. Look at that. Hey,
it's
scientist, if you
freaking
fucking
cool.
get some humility, or I'm gonna shoot you with this thing.
I feel like you're gonna be protesting your next gig. You're gonna be
I
people,
mean, like, this guy doesn't believe in science. I'm like, no, they just have no. They're dorks. I don't-
all of them. It's gonna be witches and scientists, and the witches and scientists are gonna hate each other too.
Oh, dude, don't even get the witches.
And then the Episcopals are gonna come out because the Episcopals are gonna be like, he talked bad about Martin Luther.
If the witches come out, dude, I'm getting the prayer warriors on you. We're having spiritual warfare, and we're gonna defeat you again. I'm gonna see you on the battlefield, and I will defeat Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, the one true faith. Will defeat you again.
Why did you just do a wrestling promo? You like, I tell you what, brother, when we meet on the battlefield of Christian warriors.
Listen, you witches doing casting spells, your days are over. No more spells. Jesus Christ is coming back, and he's coming for you.
What if Jesus comes back and uses science to defeat the witches? That would be weird. That would be weird.
By the way, I don't hate science. I hate scientists.
Yeah, I'm in agreement on that.
There we go.
Yeah.
This is where we're at.
Go check it out in the mirror.
there
Go
we go.
take a look at yourself. See what we
We're cutting
did.
a WWE promo
That was fun.
against the against the witchcraft of Bayshore. This looks great. I fucking love it.
It's cool. I like
This
the
is amazing.
keeps it brighter and blues and reds and yellers.
Yeah, this thing is awesome.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, so ends another fun time episode of Who the F is Rob White with my guest, Mr. Christian Hahn. Do you have anything you want to plug? I know shows will probably be way off if you did that, but your website? No?
You can follow me on Instagram, is where I keep everything, at Mingle with Christian, staying on brand. So just follow my Instagram, at Mingle with Christian, and then you have all my links and stuff, and I'll be promoting shows if you want to come see me. And one last thing, for the witches, it's over for you guys. Your days are numbered. Spiritual warfare is coming for you. So kneel before the Father, or I'm coming with a vengeance and the prayer warriors.
I want to see that. I want to see this epic war.
Dude, you got to see the prayer warriors.
Hashtag prayer warriors.
Hashtag prayer warriors. My prayer warriors, my clique, my gang.
Posse up, right?
Posse up.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, thank you guys. Please like, share, subscribe, and write us in the comments. I'm sure we'll have plenty of fun ones that we can respond to. I love it. Thank you guys for tuning in again, and we'll see you next one.
Is